Chapter 24 Ephraim Kobachi's Tech Emporium. Volga, Syria, and I unload from a taxi onto a buzzing Hyperion street. The sliver of morning sky seems the gap in the overhead bridges and buildings of the city above is as bright and blue as the dresses girls wear to the summer races of Circadia Maxima. The dilapidated deep level of Hyperion is naked under the high sun. Ancient buildings, moldering signs, forgotten by the progress above. Graffiti of upside-down pyramids embedded with screaming mouths score storefronts and alleyways. The Vox Populi seem to have an endless supply of paint. On a building side HC, a newscast blares. A fatefully serious copper reporter drones on about the hunt for the Reaper after his murder of the Archwarden. Hacked the man down in cold blood, they say. Sounds about right for the bastard. I might like booze, but power's his cup of poison. The colors are shocked, appalled by such an affront to the Republic could occur by their great hero. But after seeing the fall of one empire, I know enough to see the cracks in the foundation of this one. I suck like a burner. Without preparations for the heist underway, we've been running 18 hours a day. The first several days were strategic, scouting the viability of 3 posited locations for a heist the Syndicate provided. Once we picked one, I told Gargo, our Syndicate liaison, that the only way the task could be done proper was with a military-grade grav well. I have told it to the Obsidian as a bluff, to test the limits of his reach. But the Syndicate beast looked unfazed and kept smoking a burner over his espresso at the high-rise cafe where we met. Said he'd run it by the Duke. He did. Said it would take 2 weeks. Yes, dancing with the devil means you get the hell's resources. I pulled my wool overcoat tight against the early autumn chill and noticed Volga staring up at the residential skyscraper with a sliver of green foliage on the roof. What would it be like to live up there? She asks. A garden atop the clouds? After this, you'll find out, I say. Syrah snorts. Don't tease the crow. Even after this dreadnought of a payday, all of us together couldn't buy that penthouse. How much do you think it costs? Volga asks. Syrah shrugs. 100 million, maybe more. Volga shakes her head at the number, stunned on a primal level. There's the rising for you, I say. We cross the street after an automated grocery truck trundles past, and make our way across the fissured concrete to a small shop underneath a gaudy, glittering hollow side proclaiming, Kobachi's Tech Emporium. Won't take a bite out of your wallet. Another sign underneath flashes. No rusters. No crows. No exceptions. Volga pauses outside the door. Syrah goes right on in. I pause and consider Volga for a moment. She kept my secret from the others. For the last few days she's been sullen. Want to see inside? I ask. She looks at the sign and shakes her head. No, thank you. I sigh. What's wrong? You've been slumping along like a wounded puppy since we took this job. She relents and looks at me hesitantly. Are you not worried? Worried that this will hurt the rising? Life's a mountain, Volga. Nasty, steep, and covered in ice. Try to move it, you'll go nowhere. Try to help someone else, you'll fall right along with them. Focus on your own feet, and you might just make it up and over. I reach up and clasp her muscular shoulder. Now, come on. It will be trouble. In response, I flash the black rose in my interior coat pocket and grin. Pale lady, today we're the trouble. The interior of the shop is a dim jungle of gadgets and second-hand gizmos so thick they seem to grow into the humid air. Amidst floating indigo signs, obscure relics hang on the hooks beside knockoff datapads and ocular implants. A good half the store has been given over to biomodifications. 2 teenage greens with heavy tattooing and a Liberty spike hair sift through plastic packages containing discounted neurolinks. Idiots. After the darkness of society, this new generation is so desperate to plug in, to know everything instantaneously, that they put the whole HoloNet on their heads without giving 2 shits about the consequences. The teenagers eye Volga nervously as she comes in. Sira's already snagged her cart and is getting to work on her datapad shopping list. Volga stands behind me, eyes darting around like a puppy, giving leave over a butcher shop. They settle on a hollow experimental station that several kids have gathered around. Go on, feast your eyes, I say. She gives me a careful smile, and then, taking huge care not to let her broad shoulders knock over a rack of metabolic implants, lumbers over to watch. A blue kid is sitting in a chair, nodes attached to his head. A projection of what he's seeing with his closed eyes dances in the air above him. His friends watch excitedly, waiting their turn. They peer back at Volga's shadow as it eclipses them. One of Kobachi's employees, a gangly young green, monitors the experimental over a tray of nasal caffeine inhalers. The Reds flying a Callaway-Z Shaw mission. A fantastical first where the dashing ex-pirate personally relieved House Sod of 10 tons of gold bullion they were moving from their Luna banks to Venus in a caravan. They put a hell of a bounty on him after that. Made him famous. The employee blanches when he sees Volga. No crows, he says, gesturing to the sign. She looks down at him, embarrassed. Can't you read, girl? Yes, I can read, Volga says in a small voice. She's with me, I say. He doesn't turn. Look, if she was a ruster, she'd steal shit. If she was a brown, she'd clean shit. But she's an obsidian. They break shit. I don't make the rules, brother man. Kid, I say. I nudge the employee. He turns his bloodshot eyes to me. His pupils are huge on some designer drug. His armpits dark with sweat. Watch your fucking manners. He swallows, seeing the omnivore pistol hanging on the holster inside my jacket. Where's Kobachi? In the back. Get him for me. Tell him it's Ephraim. The green just blinks at me. Before I grow a beard. Keep up, Pops. Already called him. He taps the scar on his right temple, where the Neuralink went in. His eyes narrow rebelliously. Told him a Tin Man was waiting. A few minutes later, I spy Kobachi peeking out the crack of the door leading to the back of his shop, where he does his repairs. He catches me spotting him, then ducks away before reappearing grandly, extending his arms in welcome. He's a little mechanized gecko of a man, in his deep 60s, his sleepy green eyes embedded with sensors and magnification lenses, bald-headed, in patched-up overalls with multi-screws and other tools sticking out the belt on his tiny hips. A dull metal implant rises up out of the pale flesh covering his skull. Ephraim, my dearest friend, he says in a thin voice, as he comes up to me in the cluttered aisle. He hasn't seen Volga past the stocks of music equipment. What joy to see you again! Such a fright you gave Kobachi. He leans closer. I thought you were the watchmen. Come back with cruelty on their minds. Such nasty, nasty customers, your kinsmen. All extortion and bullying and demanding the severest discounts. Sometimes they even demand. His voice falters. Refunds. Refunds, I say. The horror. I know. Such times we live in. No protection from the small business owner. Only taxes and extortion, such as to be expected from leaders who have never run a business. He waves to the floating sign that says, "No refunds." But is it too much to ask for a literate militarized police? At least they weren't too upset about your shit knockoff lenses you repackaged in Sun Industry wrapping. He gasps. Repackage? Insidious accusation. And this from a dear friend. More like insidious business practices. Those lenses you fleeced me scratched my cornea. You're as bad as Rudico. Rudico? How dare you? He sits his reedy hands on his hips, but can't find them because of the bulk of his tool belt, so he settles for crossing his arms. Cal Ag Rudico is a 2-bit Terran hustler without a kilobyte of consideration for his customer. Profit, 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 that's all the same. Immigrants or silvers? Either. Both. No care for being an institution bazaar. It is all about what they can extract from their customers. I smile, genuinely amused at the small man. He's the most useless hustler I've ever met, but somehow, someway, he's remained on this corner for 40 years, like a benevolent fungus resistant to any and all change. Hell, I keep going back even though a quarter of the commercial goods I buy here are guaranteed to break after the first week. But maybe that's just because the turnover rate on everything else in Hyperion is manic. Gotta respect a fungus like Kabachi, especially one that files off serial numbers and wipes digital signatures. Best ghost tech for 50 kilometers, even if the toys occasionally break. He smiles at me now, a toothy, obscenely disingenuous one that seems to grow every time he smells credits in my pockets. What can Kobachi do for you today? Virility implants? Infrared ocular sensors? Zero-gravity acid applicators? Or will you be wanting something more? His smile grows till it reaches his ears. Expensive. Actually, custom is the name of the game. Crow! Mind your hands! He shouts past me. I turn. He shouts past me towards, and I turn to see Volga, frozen mid-reach, towards an iridescent glass globe with floating electrical wires inside. She sheepishly steps away from the item. Kobachi wheels on me, eyelids pinched in anger. Kobachi thinks it's not just the wardens who cannot read. He waves to another sign that says the X drawn over an ape-like monster that's supposed to be an obsidian. No crows, no exceptions. Volga likes toys, I say. Volga is going to look at toys, and you're going to mind your manners, Kobachi. For once. This is my shop, and you're happy to have us here, I say, producing the iron rose from my pocket, so that only he can see it. He blanches, as if I were holding death in my coat pocket. Aren't you? Very happy, he says quietly, but the look on his face is otherwise. Glad we can understand each other. I pocket the rose and clap him on his shoulder. Now, that custom order. He grunts and leads me to the back of the shop, which is filled with large workbenches stacked with half-completed projects. So this is what it looks like back here, I say. He looks at me with an altogether different set of eyes now that he's seen my rose. He keeps glancing at my pocket. I was not aware. It's a new agreement. It's a new arrangement. And not permanent. Silly Grey. It is always permanent, he says quietly. They never let you go. You don't want this, my friend. I dismiss his words with a shrug. I don't need him to know what I'm feeling, but I know he's right. For so many years of watching the Syndicate's tentacles stretch from the Lost City to up high Hyperion and out to Endymion and other spheres, I know they'll never let go of something valuable. After the fall, they decided they wanted the whole ecosystem. That's what's caused this territory wars between them and the old gangs. There's few of them left anymore. Even old Golgotha fell hard. Is this all you have? I asked Kobachi. Gorgo will be disappointed. The name affects Kobachi. His knees begin to shake so badly they almost knock together. He touches a button underneath the workstation. The back wall retracts into the ceiling, revealing a secondary room stocked with a treasure trove of gleaming titanium, slick plastic and steel, weapons, drones, data slicers, and all manners of illegal military tech. He smiles with pride, despite the fear the Syndicate has put into him. So this is what pays his rent. I laugh. Kobachi, you old dog. I didn't know you had so many secrets. A better compliment there is none. He begins rattling off his catalog of weapons. For close work, the R34 Widowmaker will make with iron pellets. Or if you're feeling like something discreet, a wrist-mounted Eradicator. Or, I've already got a gun, I say. A plasma pistol, he scoffs. Clumsy weapon. Loud, indiscriminate. Hardly an improvement over. I pull out the gun. An Omnivore 540, he whispers. Semi-automatic railgun. Titan arms. Powered by a rechargeable ion cell that drives every round along patented parallel reactive conductors. Adjustable internal diameter, multi-caliber friendly, with... His voice goes hushed. An autonomous forge in the magazine? He smiles dreamily. Metal goes in, death comes out. No need to get dramatic. Only 20,000 were ever made. Where did you find this on this side of the belt? A man's gotta have his secrets. I will buy. How much? Not for sale. What I need is one of these. I walk to a rack of glistening titanium hunter-killer drones with silent engines and a neurotoxin deliverer concealed in their front faceplates. It is Assassination's machine. How small can you make it?